Commissioners, are you ready?
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Mason County Commissioner meeting this morning. We would like to start with a call to order. And Eric, would you do us the honor of giving a pledge of allegiance? Leading us.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Mackenzie, could we do a roll call, please?
Commissioner District 1, Randy Netherland.
I'm here.
Commissioner District 2, Pat Tarswell.
Here.
Commissioner District 3, Sharon Trask.
All right. Do we have any correspondence or organizational business?
We do. Letters were received regarding the Timberland Regional Library Board of Trustees from Barbara Byron, Victoria Loveland, Elizabeth Karp, Valerie Garretts, a anonymous TRL patron, Kylie McQuarrie, and Kyle Kimball. The Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board sent in a temporary discontinue extension for Hazy Days Inc. and a notice of special occasion license application for Allen Community Association and Kiwanis Club of Christmastown. Stephen Jonas submitted a Planning Advisory Commission application. Allison Smith sent in a follow-up request regarding Cedar Street road maintenance and Hood Canal terrace responsibilities. The Western Conference of Teamsters Pension Trust
Thank you.
sent in an employer union pension certificate, and the Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board sent in local authority renewal notices.
All right. So now is the opportunity for us to have a, yes, ma'am. Excuse me.
We have a news release.
Yeah, okay.
I'm Sean.
Not yet. I got out of order here. I apologize. We have a Wakeboard Advisory Committee member application to announce. Who's going to be reading this news release? She's looking at you, Travis.
Do you want me to?
To read the announcement for the creation of the committee.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, you would like me to?
Yeah, I don't have it here, I'm sorry.
No problem. Give me just a second.
We're announcing the formation of the committee for the Wakeboard Citizen Advisory Commission.
Yes. Mackenzie Smith, Clerk of the Board. The Mason County Commissioners are seeking member applications for a temporary Wakeboard Advisory Committee. This committee will meet as needed to review, evaluate, and provide recommendations to the Commissioners regarding the potential adoption of an ordinance governing wake-enhanced motorboat operations within Mason County. The committee will be composed of 8 members, 3 members, 1 from each Commissioner district representing interests that support wake-enhanced motorboat operations, 3 members who oppose wake-enhanced motorboat operations, and 2 members possessing relevant technical expertise in fields such as limnology, hydrology, environmental science, fisheries, boating safety, engineering, or related disciplines. Individuals interested in applying can apply online or in person on our website. And then when you apply, please notate on the application whether you support, oppose, or are applying for the technical position.
Thank you. Now it's time for our own public forum.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Mike Katz. I'm a pastor at Hood Canal Community Church. I'd like to use my 3 minutes this morning, as it's stated on the wall, "In God We Trust." I'd like to read from a passage that is part of the reading that I was having this morning. It's from Psalm 40, and it's a Psalm of David. He writes, "I waited patiently for the Lord. and he inclined to me and heard my cry. He also brought me up out of the horrible pit, out of the miry clay, and set my feet upon a rock, and established my steps. He has put a new song in my heart, praise to our God. Many will see it and fear, and will trust in the Lord. Blessed is that man who makes the Lord his trust, and does not respect the proud, nor such as turn aside to lies. Many, O Lord my God, are your wonderful works, which you have done, and your thoughts towards us cannot be recounted to you in order. If I would declare and speak of them, they would be more than could be numbered. Sacrifice and offering you do not desire. My ears you have opened. Burnt offering and sin offering you did not require. Then I said, behold, I come. In the scroll of the book it is written of me, I delight to do your will, O my God, and your law is within my heart. I have proclaimed the good news of righteousness in the great assembly. Indeed, I do not restrain my lips, O Lord, you yourself know. I have not hidden your righteousness within my heart. I have declared your faithfulness and your salvation. I have not concealed your loving kindness and your truth from the great assembly. And if I may, I'd like to pray for us right now. My Father in heaven, I just thank you so much that we can gather together today to discuss different things within our community that affect so many different people. And I know that we may not always agree on the outcomes and how things will work out in the end. But my prayer, faith today, is that we can all agree on one thing, that you, O Lord, are our God, and that you govern not only Mason County, but that you govern this entire world, that we belong to you, that you are sovereignly in control. And Lord, as we just read, you do not desire sacrifice, you simply require obedience. Father, would all of us this morning have a heart of obedience to your law and to your ways and to your word. And I pray this now in the name of my Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Any other public comments at this time?
Follow that. Just kidding. Jeff Carey, Island Lake. 2 items. One is watching the briefing yesterday, a couple things came up in my mind. On the 09 funds, I think you need to add to make sure that the different agencies going after the funds have, as part of their comprehensive plan. I know the SEDS list and all that. And then also that they contribute, they show where they're contributing their capital facilities funds to the project. Because it seemed like a couple of applications it was coming from all different directions, but not within the organization that also have capital funds budgets. So I like to see that in there. I'm not against any of the projects for or against. They need to happen at different points in time, but I think that those factors need to be included. The other subject is dealing with budgets. I saw yesterday's discussion about the reserve and all that. While I think that's important, and I've always advocated for reserves, one thing that we need to keep in front of us is that last year, by looking at the end of year numbers, the county spent $2 million roughly more than it took in. And when you look at the first third of each year going back, last year and this year, we're spending more proportionally, ratio-wise, to April's income versus April's outgo. And it's accelerating. And this year it's about $1.5 million. The year before it was 700,000. All the previous years that you have, at least on the website, going back to 2019, you've always had more revenues than expenses. So I'd ask that the board seriously look at what's going on there as far as the I call it the day-to-day operations, and get a handle on it, because you cannot keep going. Even if you have reserves, you cannot keep spending more than you're taking in. And I really appreciate that, look at this, address it, and deal with it. Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, good morning, commissioners and staff and other people in the audience. Looks like the rain's going to end soon anyway. My name is Stephen Scott Jonas. I go by Scott. I live at 3830 East State Route 302 in Belfair, Washington, in the Victor community area. I'm here today on behalf of the Victor Improvement Club, of which I am a treasurer. The Victor Improvement Club is a nonprofit organization that has served our community for 75 years, over 75 years. Our club supports a lot of community activities. We support local food banks. We organize holiday toy drives for children. We support local churches and provide scholarships to nearby schools. We are also host several events that are open to the public. For example, we have a monthly potluck and club meeting, our annual Victor Improvement Club flea market, which is being held this Saturday from 9 until 3, if anyone's interested in attending, is one of our also fundraisers. Community events such as poker night, arts and crafts, gatherings, and New Year's celebration. Candidates forum for the school board and other local offices. Guest speakers on topics such as public safety, fire districts, local schools, and law enforcement. Most recently, we had a beginner's painting class, which was attended by 22 members of our area. We also rent our hall for special events, including wedding receptions, celebrations of life, birthdays, and anniversaries. We believe the Victor Improvement Club plays a meaningful and long-standing role in bringing our community together. Although we are a small organization, we remain an important part of the community in which we serve. We are funded primarily through small numbers of rentals and membership dues.
Sorry.
Oh, that's fine. I am here today to address the Victor Sewer Lift Station operated by Mason County and located on Victor Improvement property. The prior lease agreement lasted 26 years and expired in March of 2026. The county does not pay rent and does not reimburse utilities, including electricity required to pump water from our well. The Victor Improvement Club is not charged a monthly sewer fee for its gravity system, which terminates at the sewer station. When the Victor Improvement Club gravity system was installed, all but $1,000 of the cost was covered by a state grant. For that reason, it would be inaccurate to characterize the Victor Improvement Club as having been compensated for that installation. For comparison, an Allen Sewer Lift Station, which is located just across the bay.
That's 3 minutes, sir.
I was asked, John, could I have his 3 minutes? Is that okay?
He's the chairman.
Is that okay or not?
You know, we're gonna allow it just because we have very few comments. Go ahead.
Thank you very much.
3 more minutes.
Sorry for that. The Nelson have a 40-year lease that expires in 2029. The lease began in 2000, the same year in which our lease started. At the signing of their lease, they received $15,000. In 2007, they received another $25,500 for the lease. They also received additional compensation for the following: $4,500 for a new transformer for a building that they were constructing, $8,600 for a sewer connection fee for that same new building. So total, they have received from Mason County $38,600 for this particular lease. So all told, to date, they've been paid $53,600 and $2,007. The Nelsons declined and offered to sell the land where the Mason County Allen Sewer Station is located. The key point to this is while the Nelson property owners have received $53,600 in compensation, the Victor Improvement Club has received none. Our records further indicate that no connection fees were paid when the sewer services was converted from a septic system to the Mason County gravity system. We received Loretta's purchase proposal on Monday, June 8th, 2026, and several of our board members have not had the opportunity to review it, considering it's only been one day. We need more time to further evaluate your offer. We also will continue to negotiate a new lease with your staff. In closing, I would like to make 3 final points. We will submit a formal response to your staff purchase proposal shortly. In the meantime, because staff has repeatedly said water service is unnecessary at the site and can be provided another way, we intend to disconnect that service. Continuing to provide water also places unnecessary strain on our system and the piping that goes to that site. We also need further clarification on the requested easement staff has asked to repurchase from us. If we end up in the lease or the county wishes to discuss expansion of this site or using the area that had formerly the fire station building, we are willing to have that conversation. In other words, if you want to expand for future needs for the community, we're all for that. One last question. I think this is for staff, and I'd like to get this in writing. How is that pump station monitored for failures? Do you have a SCADA system that tells us when it fails, or what is there in place? And has there ever been a spill, a sewer spill at that site? One last thing from our board, since we received, I know it was under consent agenda to extend this negotiation to December of 2026. The lease was up in March of 2026. We extended it to June of 2026. Our board members are firmly against extending it to December of 2026.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Any other comments? Seeing none. Any comments in the Zoom room? If you have a comment, either raise your hand or unmute yourself and state your name. Seeing none, we will close the citizen input. Look for a motion to adopt the agenda.
Mr. Chair, before I do that, I need to ask a question, if you don't mind, of staff, on the extension. That would just be our side anyway.
Correct.
Would you request we remove it or leave it in?
Leave it in.
I thank you. I just wanted to verify. Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second that. It has been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of adopting the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Motion carries. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Mr. Chair, before asking for approval of the minutes, I ask no objection to make a few changes on it. For the minutes of the week of June 1st, 2026, where the first section, the first paragraph discussions labor discussion under potential litigation, we need to change the verbiage to say that the closed session was for potential litigation instead of labor negotiations. And then we go down to the third one, which it says executive sessions for real estate. It was a copy and paste, and again, it says under there for labor discussions, it needs to say for real estate discussions. And with that, with those changes, if there is no objection to that, I move that we adopt these briefing minutes with those changes.
Good catch.
Not mine. I'm, thank you though.
So we have a motion, I'll second that.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the minutes from June 1st, 2026 briefing minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Hearing none. Motion carries. We will now look for the action agenda. We will read through all the items. If there's any item that anyone wants to remove for further discussion, you can do that after we've read through it. Either the commissioners or the audience can have any item removed for further discussion. I will read items 8.1 through 8.6. Commissioner Netherland will read 8.7 through 8.12. So, 8.1, approval of warrants and treasurer's electronic remittance. Claims Clearing Fund, warrant number 812-1279 through 812-1517 in the amount of $1,288,082.67. Direct Deposit Fund, warrant number 126306 through 126711 in the amount of $984,923.65. Salary Clearing Fund, warrant number 70089-704 through 7009733 in the amount of $631,481.88. Item 8.2, approval to set a public hearing for July 7th, 2026 at 9:15 a.m. to consider the rezone of 2.26 acres of parcel number 32030 through -14-90030 from mixed use to general commercial. Item 8.3, approval to terminate the Consolidated Homeless Grant CHG contract with the Youth Connection. Item 8.4, approval for the chair to execute the County Road Administration Board CRAB Rural Arterial Program RAP contract amendment for the Quoqualum Road Improvement Project from milepost 6.60 to milepost 7.80. Item 8.5, approval of the lease extension agreement with the Victor Improvement Club through December 8th, 2026 for the purpose of allowing additional time to negotiate either the purchase of the property or revise lease terms for the sewer pump station site serving the North Bay Water Reclamation Facility collection system. Item 8.6, approval to set a public hearing for July 7th, 2026 at 9:15 a.m. to consider the 2025 open space applications as recommended by the Assessor's Office and Community Development.
Mr. Chair, item number 8.7 reads approval of the letter of support for the Historic Preservation Grant for Mason County Courthouse and approval to authorize facilities to work with Helix Design Group to research qualified historic preservation contractors for exterior courthouse restoration and assistance in developing project information necessary to pursue historic preservation grant funding. Item number 8.8 reads approval of the Homeland Security Region 3 Mutual Aid Omnibus Agreement. Item number 8.9, approval of resolution moving the Chief Public Defender from non-represented salary scale to the elected official appointed flat rate scale that will allow the approved annual salary of $187,500. Item number 8.10, approval of resolution updating the Mason County Personal Policy to include Chapter 2, Section 2.4, Minor in the Workplace. Item number 8.11, approval of the following Mason County officers, employees, and former employees pursuant to Mason County Ordinance 06-18, which is a request for defense and indemnification coverage assigned by the county as named additional defendants in the case of Brandon Rubio versus Mason County et al. Case number C25-5716-TSZ-SKV. Amended complaint served upon the county on May 26, 2026 via Prosecuting Attorney's Office, Robert Decker, Dylan Hessler, and Clayton Parson. Item number 8.12, approval of a resolution establishing a temporary wakeboard advisory committee.
Having read through those, are there any items that the commission would like removed?
Nope.
Hearing none?
I can't hear anything you guys are saying. Do your microphones work? Because it's certainly not audible.
Yeah, we don't have microphones. We do have ear things that we can get it sometimes. Can you hold
I'm
on one
just saying
second?
I can't
Staff,
hear you.
do you have a copy of this that we can share with him, please?
Yes, let me go print mine.
Okay, can we take a moment?
Sure.
We're gonna take a moment. We're gonna print one off so you have one in your hand.
There's one here.
Oh, right here? Okay.
Thank you, Kelly. Cal.
What's this?
That is what we just read.
Oh, okay.
So we read 8.1 through 8.12, and I think the chair's okay. We'll take a minute for you to read it.
Okay. This is about the road improvement.
Not yet, no.
Okay.
That's later.
That's later, okay,
Yes.
sorry. That's why I'm here.
It's okay.
Sorry.
I'd like to remove 8.3 for further discussion, please.
All right, we will remove 8.3. Any other items to be removed?
Do you want that back?
I was gonna show you where it's.
Anyone in the Zoom space care to have an item
I'm
removed?
only here about the,
Please raise your hand or unmute yourself and
Yeah,
say your name. All right? Hearing none,
yeah, I gotta,
I'll entertain a motion to approve the action agenda minus 8.3.
Mr. Chair, I move for approval of the action agenda in its entirety with the exception of item 8.3, which will be taken off for a separate discussion and vote.
I'll second that. We have a motion and a second to approve the action
we
agenda
wanna talk
minus
here about,
item number 8.3. And any further discussion?
Nope.
Hearing none, we have a motion and a second to approve. No, you made the motion? Yeah,
Yes.
okay. A second. We have a motion and a second to approve the action agenda minus item 8.3. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. So now we will discuss item 8.3.
Like in the back.
You need to go to the video.
Yes, please.
Morning, Commissioners. Melissa Casey, Community Health Manager, Mason County Public Health and Human Services. So the background on this item is $1.9 million of public funds going to this agency through the Consolidated Homeless Grant for a 2-year period. As you know, we have awarded contracts only for fiscal year 26. So we are recommending that we terminate the contract for fiscal year 27, which is effective July 1st, 2026. And the reason for this is that after a series of fiscal and programmatic monitoring, the county takes these public funds very seriously. We have concerns that we have been unable to verify that the funds are spent according to the intent of the contract, especially with there being blended funds through the agency. It doesn't mean that we can't contract with this agency again in the future. It's just that it's not in the county's best interest to continue the contract for the next fiscal year. Any questions?
Any questions? Hearing none?
Am I allowed to make a statement?
Sure, this is a discussion period for that
Thank
that
you.
item.
So, my name is Susan Kirchhoff, and I'm the founder and executive director of Shelton Family Center, doing business as the Youth Connection. I've presented multiple times here. This is my heart. If I cry, please apologize. It's very emotional to me. First of all, I'm trying to understand how we even reached the point that we're being recommended for cancellation when I've had no notice. The only way I found out that it was here is I actually read the briefing. So I'm kind of concerned that I had no notice that this was even happening. What's especially concerning to me is that this recommendation moved forward after a meeting with Commerce had already been scheduled on June 1st to help find the resolution for the ongoing invoicing issue that we've been experiencing. The question I continue to ask is simple as why is it being canceled? And my understanding is they were asking for an April 26th cancellation date, not the end of the contract period cancellation date. This contract year began with questions from the Youth Connection regarding whether portions of the contract in the CHG supplemental manual aligned with the CHG guidelines. I brought it up many times, and there are still unresolved issues that have not been addressed. It appears that that has set the foundation for an unresolved conflict involving interpretation, documentation, allocation methodologies, and reimbursement eligibility. This has not been about fraud, nor misuse of funds, nor personal gain, nor intentional misconduct. Since 2019, TYC, Youth Connection, has partnered with Mason County for more than 7 years. During that time, our organization has grown. We are now preparing for an exciting remodel, as everyone in the community knows. The mission, purpose, and day-to-day operations of our Shelton and Belfair Drop-In Center has remained unchanged. The same center that existed when Mason County first partnered with us continues to provide safe, welcoming space for the young people we serve. During these 7 years, the Youth Connection has never received a formal written corrective action plan. We've never received a notice of a contract default from anyone, none of our funders. That speaks volumes to who we are. We have passed every audit, including federal audits, with no issues. To be honest, I'm still struggling how to understand how we arrived at this recommendation of a cancellation. The Youth Connection will respect your decision because we respect you as where you are. If you agree to move forward for the cancellation, I do respectfully, and Melissa did acknowledge that it's not because of anything we've done, but I really want to make sure it's very clearly stated that it's not from adverse actions from the Youth Connection. I do want to share a little bit more though, because there were a few things that were brought up. TYC has participated in multiple meetings to try to resolve this invoice issue. We've made direction, we've changed things. TYC has received only one payment for this whole contract season in July. I did not know we were awarded $1.8 million. My contract says $932,000. I don't know the exact number, I didn't write that down. During our commerce meeting, we were informed that the invoices could not be processed without an approved budget. We've submitted 10 budgets and none of them have been approved. The final version of our TYC understood that had been agreed upon that we would be able to come to a resolution. My understanding is that someone from Mason County did meet with Commerce and they did have something created. We have not seen that to help us. One of the most difficult aspects of this process has been understanding when an issue was considered resolved and when expectations changed. Based on direction provided, the Youth Connection repeatedly revised budgets, invoices, allocation methodologies, internal processes, requiring significant administrative effort. After those changes were implemented, the Youth Connection was frequently informed that additional modifications were necessary, which resulted in the Youth Connection revisiting again what we thought we had already resolved. During the invoice disputes, and I just want to let you know, I have all this documented in emails. So none of this I'm saying is something I'm making up. I have emails to prove everything I'm saying. TYC received notice of intent to monitor eviction prevention. We understood that a monitoring is meant to assess compliance and provide organizations with the opportunity to identify and correct issues. We actually welcome this process because that's how we learn if we're making mistakes. TYC had not undergone a consolidated homeless grant, Mason County grant, monitoring review in more than 2 years. The previous review was completed in December 2023 and closed January 2024, and there were a small number of administrative and policy-related recommendations which we addressed promptly. Those were our only issues. On February 19th, we received notice of the eviction prevention monitoring with an email stating that someone would be in our office within 3 hours to pick up 10 files. I did not read the email and did not know it was happening until the person showed up at my door. I was able to produce the files within 48 hours, but that was not okay and was not accepted. I received a notice within less than 24 hours that the monitoring would proceed without the information. As suspected, we got findings. We answered the findings. We did everything that was requested to the best of our ability. During the May 27th, 2026 Housing and Behavioral Health Advisory Board meeting, it was stated that TYC had not provided required answers for the eviction prevention and rapid rehousing monitoring. I want it made it known that first of all, we never received a final notice at all on the eviction prevention, and I stated very clearly multiple times that we needed technical assistance for not only the monitoring, but to ensure that we were answering correctly. We never knew that we didn't answer their questions correctly because no one ever responded. And as of today, we have still not received anything on the rapid rehousing monitoring. And at the point when we first started to be monitored, we realized and acknowledged to Mason County that we had been using the incorrect forms. And we did an internal review and again shared with them that what the results of that internal review was. Throughout this process, we've requested technical assistance on 4 separate occasions to assist with the process. One was a response from Melissa that we said, yes, we absolutely need technical assistance, and it's not been scheduled. Despite this, TYC continued serving in good faith using general operating funds while waiting for reimbursement. I just want to point out that we served 17 individuals representing 15 households in the Rapid Rehousing Program. 14 of those households exited during this last year, 100% positive outcomes. They're all housed. Our emergency shelter served 13 individuals, 5 went to permanent housing, and 3 graduated to a transitional housing program. And we prevented 22 households from maintaining housing. We did this all in the expectation that we would be reimbursed. Since June 1st Commerce meeting, we've continued I already said that, I'll skip that. I've always believed the purpose of monitoring, as I said, was to correct. Technical assistance is to help and support. Prior to this contract year, I just want to say our partnership with Mason County felt like a partnership. During this contract year, unfortunately, that has not been our experience. I also need to be honest with you, I'm unsure whether continued contracting would be a workable fit, because I feel like if it didn't, then without clear expectations and consistent communications, assurance that TYC can raise contract and compliance issues without adverse consequences, I'm not sure if it'd be a good partnership anyway. Because I feel like I raised concerns and I don't feel like it was fair to be, I felt like I'm being punished. Whether it was intended that way or whether I don't take it that way, it felt that way. I'm telling what it felt. If the commissioners ultimately decide that canceling, again, I said this already, but I respectfully ask that resolving the invoice issues would be helpful. Even if TY is only able to recover some of its expenses, I also respect consideration of mutually agreed upon separation that does not create adverse consequences for us. We are doing a good job in our community. We are serving young people that need our help. The issues before us involve interpretation, documentation, allocation methodologies, and reimbursement eligibility, not fraud. We've not misused funds. We've not got any personal gain out of it, nor have we intentionally done any misconduct. I hope any decision recognizes the positive outcome achieved during this contract period and does not diminish the work performed by staff who continue serving our vulnerable adults. And on a separate side note, I just want to, when this all started, I purposely and intently hired an outside consultant, Ecox Consulting, who worked with Community Lifeline. I had them do an independent, full audit of all of our grants. And ironically, Mason County is the only one I didn't have issues with. So I just wanted to let you know that all of our Mason County ones, when she did it, was clear as a bell. The other ones, we had a few little things we have to fix. But with that said, thank you, just take that into consideration.
All right, any other comments on this issue? Yeah.
Hi, my name is Mary Robillard. I'm the board chair for the Youth Center, Youth Connection. And I'm speaking today on behalf of the board regarding the recommendation to cancel the Youth Connections Consolidated Housing Grant Contract. As board members, our responsibility is to govern, oversight, accountability, and ensuring the organization fulfills its mission. While responsibly managing public and private resources, we take this responsibility seriously. What concerns me most is not simply the recommendation itself, but how we arrived at this point. Every day, young people walk through our doors and seeking safety, support, and hope. The impact of this organization extends well beyond a single contract and funding source. As board chair, I continue to ask a simple question. How did we move from years of successful service, delivery, positive housing outcome, and no formal written corrective action plan to a recommendation for contract cancellation? The board fully acknowledges that concerns were identified through monitoring. What is equally important is that TYC accepted those findings, implemented corrective actions, revised policies and procedures, provided requested documentation, and repeatedly sought out assistance to ensure compliance moving forward. In fact, the Youth Connection requested technical assistance on 4 separate occasions. To our knowledge, no technical assistance was meeting or even scheduled. Those emails were never responded to when they were asked for technical assistance. The board understands it is that many disputes throughout the contract period revolve around budget agreement and cost allocation methodology. The Youth Connection revised budgets multiple times. The Youth Connection revised invoices multiple times. The Youth Connection participated in numerous meetings and discussions. The Youth Connection implied methodologies which were discussed and approved at various points throughout the contract period. I intend to have and been included in meetings and emails. What has been difficult for the board to understand is the solutions were often discussed, agreed upon, and implemented only for expectations to change later. This resulted in additional revisions, additional administrative burdens, and continued uncertainty regarding what the ultimate required and the process forward. Consistency and oversight is important, not only for the Youth Connection, but for every organization serving vulnerable residents throughout Mason County. Providers should be able to clearly understand expectations, receive consistent guidance, and have confidence in the concerns will be addressed through transparency and collaborative process. Based on the board's review of this situation, we are concerned that this level of consistency has not been existent throughout the Youth Connection's experience during this contract period. The board also is also concerned about the timing of the recommendation. On April 24th, 2026, the Youth Connection requested Commerce involvement to help resolve ongoing disputes regarding billings, reimbursement, eligibility, and cost allocation. A meeting was scheduled for June 1st. Before that meeting occurred, a recommendation was made to cancel the Youth Connection's contract. I am also concerned about the potential impact this recommendation may have on the Youth Connection's reputation. The board is not aware of any allegations involving fraud, misuse of funds, personal gain, or intentional misconduct. The issue under discussion have been consistently involved documentation, billing methodology, budget interpretation, cost allocation, reimbursement eligibility, and a program compliance. This distinction does matter. The reputation of an organization affects its ability to secure future funding, maintain community partnerships, recruit volunteers, attract donors, and continue serving vulnerable youth and families. In the county, ultimate determination is necessary. We respectfully request the decision reflect the full history of the partnership and recognize the difference between intentional misconduct and unresolved administrative disputes, and document the cancellation of the contract was by mutual agreement, by a mutual decision, not adverse reasons. Most importantly, we ask that any decision consider the young people and the families who depend on these services throughout this process. The Youth Connection continues operating in good faith, utilizing organizational resources to keep services available. We believe a resolution would be reached. We are asking for fairness, consistency, transparency, and a complete review of the process before a decision is made. And I will say that I have been with the Youth Connection since it opened up in their current building. And the amount of work that goes into serving our youth and keeping them off the streets, I have been so impressed with the success of where these people are today that just walked in our building, that didn't have a place to stay, food to eat. And I just really think that things need to be looked at a little bit differently when it comes to the Youth Connection. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on this topic? Anyone in the Zoom space want to make a comment? Raise your hand or unmute yourself and say your name. Seeing none. Commissioner, any comments?
Yeah, if, normally we'd do a motion for making a comment, but I have a few questions and just want to clarify a few things, so if you don't mind, I'll make a comment first, and then we'll figure out where to go from here. I'm gonna have staff up in a minute, so I'm gonna ask one question that is very important to me. But we've never heard any accusation of you doing anything illegal or improper. That has not happened. I want to say it from here. That's nothing our staff has ever said. But there's something that you have to understand. We actually answer to the state and federal government when we receive monies and we put monies out. With that, we have to go by policy, our policies that we have established. If not, we have findings from the state and they come after us for it. And we've had a situation in the past, not your organization, where we've had to pay the money back. So with that being said, we're very strict on how we do these things when we enter into these contracts. It's never personal, but it feels personal when there's an action that comes with it.
I respect that.
Okay. The question that I would have for staff, if you don't mind, because I want this on the record, because it's very important to me. When we last spoke, there was a comment that I made about, well, we're doing this because I support where you're going with it, because I know you've worked real hard with it. But there's something that's very important to me. I had said that this will give us time for you to try and work something out while we're doing it, if you could. There was a statement that was made that there was no contact with them in regards to this. I understand the organizations are bigger than one person, and it may not go to them, but I need to hear from you. Were they informed that they may be in a situation where we're going to be withdrawing the grant in the last few weeks? Have you?
We have not explicitly stated that we were recommending the contract be terminated. I really kind of, before sharing that with the agency, wanted the approval of the board before we said we were gonna cancel it. However, we have communicated all of the findings and the corrective action via the monitoring reports. Can I clarify a few things just regarding the timeline, because I know that
I'm
there's.
not the chair, yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. I wanted to clarify the reasoning for the request for the April 24th date as the date of termination, effective date of termination. The reason for that is in the middle of the monitorings, that was the date that we had communicated to the Youth Connection. Given the seriousness of what we found through the monitorings, we had asked that there be no new enrollments made. So that's one clarification. The second clarification is we did meet with Commerce on June 1st. The county is very committed to ensuring that the Youth Connection is reimbursed for the services that they have provided in this fiscal year. However, Susan had mentioned, we brought a few things to the Housing and Behavioral Health Advisory Board at the May 27th regular meeting. There were some things that we, as a department, weren't quite sure how the county would see is fulfilling the monitoring report and the clarification that was requested. We received direction from the advisory board to work with the county's risk manager to answer those questions, and I have a meeting scheduled with her this Friday. Unfortunately, it's just with people being out of the office, we haven't been able to do that sooner. The agency will receive a very comprehensive report of the history, and when I say history, I mean, as I've gone through documentation, I found several things that have spanned over multiple fiscal years that are just repeat and ongoing and have not been resolved. And in regards to the request for technical assistance, I think that we are in a very unique situation when you're in the middle of a monitoring. You don't want to offer technical assistance because that will impact the integrity of the monitoring that's being completed. So if there were salvageable programs following that, technical assistance would be the course of action. However, given what has been found, that is just not feasible.
I have one more question for me. What is the ramification? In my head right now, like I said before, it was very important that there was an opportunity to work back and forth. What's the ramification if I was to ask to table this for 2 weeks? Is there a threat or anything to our standing with Commerce or the auditor or anything else if I was to request a continuance?
A few things. We are at a very close, short timeline for fiscal close. So at the end of the contract term, our deadline to get reimbursed, for the county to be reimbursed by Commerce, is actually sooner, so it's July 10th, which means we would have to have everything final in satisfactory, so if there are any corrections that need to be made, really starting that process now is really critical. If anybody is gonna be reimbursed. The other impact would be, should the board approve an additional recommendation to centralize rental assistance through another agency, that's something I hope to brief next week. That would have to be approved and in motion in order for those services to not have a gap.
All right, so unless you have a question, I'm ready to make a motion.
Well, I'll just make one comment.
Thank you.
In the board, health and behavioral health, housing board, this has been discussed for quite a while, that we've been having trouble with getting proper documentation on all of these expenses. And several months ago, I made the comment as the chairman of the board that we must get proper documentation. We need the receipts for every dime that's being spent of the taxpayers' money. And a number of the providers were on that Zoom link, and so then time has passed and staff has said they can't get those answers. I don't know exactly whether there's been all of this in writing, but I can tell you that that was a statement that I made, and their response was, it's not happening. I don't know the full details of this, but that's where we went with that, so just to put it in perspective.
Okay.
So,
So, again, for me, if you remember, the meeting was very important that we had, sorry. It's very important to me at the time that we have that communication, just in case there's one piece that could be put together. I understand your worry and your risk of not being able to reallocate the funds. Time-wise, that means that if we were to wait until the next meeting, that still gives you 17 days to prepare the information. But you could also continuously work to bring forward a second agency, because they would be approved and disapproved at the same meeting. So I myself, I'm inclined just to table it for 2 weeks for the next meeting, and allow staff to continue moving forward with what they're doing, and they either figure it out or they don't, and if they don't, then we make the actions for both of them on the next meeting. So if you're open to that, because there's only two of us, there's no reason for me to make a motion if he's not open to it, so that's why we're handling this manner. If you're open to that, I would like to make that motion, just to table it for 2 weeks.
and does that put you in a bind that you can't resolve?
When is 2 weeks? What's the
The
date?
23rd. That would give you 17 days to put together your paperwork, but it would also allow you to work with another entity. If it's not going to happen, you couldn't pass a contract until the 23rd anyway.
That's correct. Are you asking me to bring more information to the board
No.
regarding this
I'm not.
recommendation?
I'd be asking you to meet with them and give them the opportunity, because they should have had notice of the cancellation. Give them the opportunity to, if they can correct it magically, then great. If they can't, then I'm just being straight with you. I intend to vote to support what the staff's request is if you can't find a way to get there. So,
All right, I'll support the 2 weeks.
okay. Then, Mr. Chair, I move that we table this to the June 23rd meeting, at which time we will make a determination and allow staff to continue working with other entities in case it's not able to be fixed.
I'll second that. It's been moved and seconded that this be tabled for 2 weeks. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Where are we? All right. Other business or department heads, elected officials.
Can I go back to the consent agenda real quick? I request that.
No, sir, it's closed.
It's closed? Okay.
We already voted on it.
Okay, but I can't have an item removed from the action items and this time.
We already voted on it.
We had that opportunity earlier.
I was curious about it. Okay. Fine.
Department heads or elected officials? Auditor Dunkel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to enter into the record page 2 from Treasurer Pearson's report to the Finance Committee from the April 28, 2026 Finance Committee meeting. So once again, good morning, Steve Dunkel, Mason County Auditor. In yesterday's briefing, Mr. Chair, you attacked me for stating that the county is not in compliance with Resolution 2025-067. I went back and reviewed the video from the April 28th, 2026 Finance Committee meeting, and that meeting started at timestamp 1 hour, 35 minutes, and 12 seconds. In that meeting, you admitted 3 times that the county is spending money too fast. At the 1 hour, 46 minute, 56 second mark, you said that the last column in reference to the treasurer's report is inaccurate, and repeated that statement 3 more times. In that meeting, we all agreed that we were not in compliance with the reserve policy. Albeit, you acknowledged that fact at the 25% reserve threshold. You said it yourself at the 1 hour, 47 minute, 1 second mark, quote, "So you're right, at 25%, we are below our reserves," unquote. When it comes to compliance, either you comply or you don't. The problem is not in the debate over the treasurer's spreadsheet math or degrees of compliance. The problem is, as you admitted, the county's spending too fast. The county has a spending problem. In making my assessment and my statements, I used the treasurer's data from the April 28, 2026 Finance Committee meeting. That data showed a reserve deficit against policy balance at all 3 reserve levels, 15%, 20%, 25%. It's the last official data from the treasurer we have. The treasurer's report also includes an explanation of what that number means down at the bottom. She spells it out quite clearly. What that number means with respect to the policy and how it's calculated. Not once in that meeting did anyone agree that the treasurer's math calculating that reserve deficit against policy balance was incorrect or agree to change it. What was discussed was not showing the column of data or reporting it to the public. You misled the public when you said otherwise in yesterday's meeting. You also stated that I put reserve deficit against policy balance numbers out to the public. You again misled the public because I sent the numbers using the treasurer's spreadsheet math in an email to the commission, to the treasurer, to the CFO, the administrator, and the budget manager. I only sent the numbers and the data, no commentary, no assessment. For you to say otherwise is misleading the public. You state that the spreadsheet I prepared for the commission is the purview of the treasurer. Let me read to you RCW 36.22.010. The county auditor shall keep an account current with the county treasurer, charge all money received as shown by receipts issued, and credit all disbursements paid out according to the record of settlement of the treasurer with the legislative authority. The county auditor shall make out and transmit to the state auditor a statement of the state fund account with the county in accordance with the standards developed by the state auditor. The statement must be available to the public. The county auditor shall make available a complete exhibit of the prior year finances of the county, including, but not limited to, a statement of financial condition and financial operation in accordance with the standards developed by the state auditor. This exhibit shall be made available after financial records are closed for the prior year. And lastly, the county auditor shall make out a register of all warrants legally authorized and directed to be issued by the legislative body at a regular or special meeting. The auditor shall make the data available to the county treasurer. The auditor shall retain the original of the register of warrants for future reference. Oversight of the county's finances is my job. When you state that it isn't, you are misleading the public. And I will not be bullied into not performing my statutory duties. If I turned a blind eye to the county's spending problems, I would be corrupt. If I chose not to oversee the county's finances, I'd be breaking the law. You stated yesterday the auditor is misleading the public. Not so. I never sent the email that I sent to you to the public. You posted it yesterday. When you suggested I did, you misled the public. You accused me of misleading Commissioner Netherland. And I can assure you, Commissioner Netherland does his own analytical work when it comes to the budget. You stated multiple times that I've been saying to the public that we have a, quote, massive reserve deficit. I think I counted 3 times in the video. Pat, those are your words. You're misleading the public with that false narrative. When I share concerns about county spending, I keep it simple. I say, we're spending more than we're bringing in. And I'll say it again for the public today. We're spending more than we're bringing in. And our reserves have deteriorated year over year for the last 3 years as a result. You may not like the treasurer's math. You may not agree with it. You may not understand it. Or you may not want to present it to the public. But until our reserve policy changes, or the treasurer develops another way to mathematically assess compliance with it, I will use the treasurer's numbers to make any formal assessment as auditor. So please stop putting words in my mouth. And please stop misleading the public. As conservatives, you and I should be on the same page with respect to the budget and spending. Why are you attacking me? It's politics. You can't control me. You don't control me. You won't control me. I work for the people of Mason County. And I report to them, hold myself accountable to them, and my Lord and Savior. Thank you very much.
Well, I will take a point of privilege as chairman. Steve, you're doing it again. You said no one in that meeting said that that information was incorrect. Commissioner Netherland, did we have a discussion about that where I said you said it's important information, and I said this is incorrect information, and there is nothing that is important about incorrect information?
I have the receipts, Pat.
Excuse me, I'm talking.
Right here.
I'm speaking.
I haven't.
Was that true?
I don't know. I can kind of think that there was, I know we had a discussion around that. I don't remember the exact things on that and I didn't watch the video. I do know that you and I discussed yesterday, what we agreed to do was to have it removed. We didn't agree it was wrong. I said that yesterday as well, and I think about it today, but.
Right. So, again, you are misleading the public. You're stating something that is not true when you say no one stated that the information was incorrect. It was stated that was incorrect. I can tell you that this was the conversation the Commissioner Netherland and I had.
There you go again. I reviewed the audio tape, videotape, word for word. Those words were not stated.
You claim that I said massive. Well, Steve, I don't know what you consider massive, but you just put out yesterday $9 million or something like that reserve deficit. I gave you the simple math. We do not have a reserve deficit. I have corrected you multiple times.
It's not your job to
I
correct
am
me.
speaking. I let you talk without interrupting.
Thank you for that.
Please give me that courtesy. You said that we had a 9 point something million dollar deficit. I consider that a massive deficit. If it were true, that would be a massive deficit. So those are my words. You're correct.
Those are
I
yours.
used,
Thank you very much.
again, do not interrupt. I said massive, and maybe you never used the term massive, okay, but you have been telling people that we have a 9.9 or 9 whatever $million deficit, which we don't have a $1 deficit. We have a $3 million overage over what the policy states. I don't care what math you use or how you're doing this. You're twisting the numbers. You are.
No, sir.
Yes,
No,
you
sir.
are.
Pat, you are lying.
Again, do not interrupt. I didn't interrupt you. Not
I'm gonna
once.
hold my ground when you're lying.
You're lying, Steve. I'm
I have
sorry,
never
I don't
seen-
like to use those terms, but,
Me either.
but you are clearly misrepresenting the truth.
I have never put those numbers out to the public. I sent them to you with no commentary. The word you just admitted, the word massive deficit came from your mouth, not mine. I
I'm
never
not,
put
I'm
any
not denying
commentary.
the massive deficit. We're not having that discussion. The point is, I admit it, maybe you've never used the word massive.
Thank
But
you.
you have put numbers out there, at least according to people who have complained to me about things you said. Are we really down $10 million? Because Auditor Dunkel says we are.
I've never said that.
Well, okay, then somehow
I've never
that,
said that.
somehow constituents have come back to that. And if you interrupt me again, I'm gonna ask you to leave the room. Do you understand that? I didn't interrupt you once. So, I'm not sure, but when the auditor puts out information and people tell me this, I assume that a multi-million dollar, $10 million deficit would be massive. So he may be correct, that's my terminology saying that's a massive deficit. Our deficit is zero. We have a $3 million surplus relative to our policy. I went over that yesterday. I showed the math. It's very clear. I don't understand what his agenda is or what he's trying to sell here, but we are not having a crisis. I have admitted, Commissioner Netherland can attest to this, multiple times, that we are having a spending issue that we need to address as commissioners because it's our job. I continue to say that. And to your point, Jeff, we have been talking about this a lot, that there is a spending issue we have to address. My concern is that we're saying something that's not true to the public, and Auditor Dunkel continues to say that we have a deficit reserve policy issue. We do not.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I appreciate the dialogue back and forth, but our business meeting, I'd like to, if you don't mind, I'd get back to the business aspect of it.
But he's called me out for something that is not true.
And now we've gone back and forth, if you don't mind, it's up to you, you're the chair, so, but I do know that these people are waiting for the other hearing.
All right.
I just heard what he said. Yeah. It was better than watching TV.
Mr. Chair, may I?
No, you may not. We're moving forward. All right, it is time for our public hearing.
Was there any other electeds? I don't know if they want to.
Yeah. Is there any other electeds or department heads that would like to make a comment? Anyone in the Zoom room care to make a comment? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to our public hearing. First public hearing, I will call to order. Public hearing to consider the amendments to Mason County Code, Section 17.05-034, granting a variance authorized, continued staff, Kel Rowan.
Hi, good morning, Kel Rowan, Mason County Community Development Department. And this public hearing, I'm going to cancel after further review between staff and our deputy prosecutor. We are going to be making some code amendments that are along the lines of this, but we are not going to require surveys for administrative variances. We are going to make some further amendments. We'll bring it back to the Planning Commission and then back to the board, so near the latter end of the year.
Mr. Chairman, since there's no intended motion at this time, unless somebody in the audience really wants to testify, because it is a hearing, I will let it die from lack of a motion and lack of a second.
So is there anybody who would like to testify on this? Anybody in the Zoom space want to testify on this particular topic? Hearing none.
And I do not intend to make a motion, so if you don't.
Okay.
Yours is coming up
I can close it.
Yeah.
right after I sit down.
All right. No motions have been made. This public hearing is closed. Thank you,
All right.
Colin.
Now,
I'd like to call to order the next public hearing to consider adopting a resolution confirming the final assessment roll for Shetland Road Improvement District, RID number 2024-01, and certifying the assessment roll to Mason County Treasurer for collection and resolution accepting the improved portion of Shetland Road into the Mason County road system and ordinance establishing a 25-mile-per-hour speed limit on Shetland Road segments within RID 2024-01. Mike Collins.
Now, Mike, you say all that too.
We're
We're finally here.
Watch it.
The Shetland Road Improvement District was approved on August of 2024. Construction has been completed in 2025 by county forces. The treasurer secured a short-term 3.9% loan on behalf of the RID. The loan will be repaid using the proceeds from property assessment in the district. The total cost of the project was about $184,860. Interest and service charges for the loan will be $42,984. Total of $227,845. The original estimate was $365,000. So originally there was 92 parcels to be affected. 17 parcels are going to be will be pulled out because of the donation of right-of-way. 19 parcels were owned by the state, and so through that process, DNR has requested to be removed. And then there's 5 parcels that were under forest lands. And so a total of 51 parcels in the end to be assessed for the improvement. So the cost per parcel will be about $4,467.55 if paid over the 5-year loan period. We recommend the board to consider the final assessment roll for the Shetland Road Improvement District.
All right. Any
Question?
Yes, sir.
What was the original amount we thought when the public asked us to do this? I want to remind everybody, the public asked us to do this, Shetland Road didn't.
The original amount was about $365,000.
365, so quite a bit more than what it ended up being.
Yep.
And you mentioned the number on the paid over 5 years. I didn't hear you mention if they were to pay in full within 30 days.
Yes, if they the cost per parcel if they pay in full within 30 days is $3,624.72.
Thank you. Those are my questions.
Any comments? Any testimony? Seeing none? Anybody in the Zoom space?
Who do we get a hold of? We just can't afford the lump sum and we want to make payments?
Yes, you can do the payments, yes.
Who do we get a hold of?
They will contact you.
What?
Yeah, they will contact you.
Oh, they know?
Yeah, for the record, ladies and gentlemen, we have somebody in the audience that was asking who do they contact if they can't afford to do a all-in payment up front. And staff was saying just off the camera there that they will be contacting you. So they'll contact you, you'll get your option, you can pay within the 30 days grace period, the whole thing at $3,624.72, or you can book it out over a 5-year period with interest and everything. At that point, at a 4% interest rate, it would run you about $4,467.55.
Yeah.
But they'll contact you.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
I know that.
That's all I need. May I ask a question? All I need to know.
Of staff?
No, well, I'm not sure who, I just, got it? I just want to know when the beginning of the grace period begins. Or it took so long. Starts. Yeah. Do we know that?
Sure, you can,
Well,
you
when
can
was
step
it-
up to the
Yeah.
microphone.
Please, yeah, because we need to get everything on the record,
Yeah.
Okay.
and we'll get you an answer. We'll try.
So my only
And
question
and
about.
state your name, please, for the record.
My name is Terry Lauber. I live in the RID boundaries. My question is just, there's a 30-day grace period that people can pay the amount in full, and I just want to know when that 30 days starts.
It would be after the board approves.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I believe that's correct, Mike, and actually the treasurer is on the line as well. But I think what will happen, once the roll is approved, then the final notices will go out stating this is beginning.
And that's when the 30, that's what I thought.
Okay.
It's usually after the notices.
Yeah, but Brittany, if you've got a correction, please let us know, Madam Treasurer.
I don't know if she's up there, but.
Are you sure she's up there?
Oh, yeah, okay.
She might not be there.
Yeah, it could be, it's been a long morning.
Oh, Brittany, I see it. Okay.
Okay.
Any other comments?
Are you there?
There she is. Hi.
Yes, Brittany.
Okay, so
Property owners may pay their assessments in full within 30 days from the date of first publication of the treasurer's notice of collection without interest and penalty. After that period, any remaining unpaid assessments shall be payable in annual installments over a 5-year period.
So Treasurer Pearson,
does that help?
if we were to approve this, when would you send out the notices?
We have to do 2 publications back to back in the journal. We have to notice, so that takes a little bit of time.
Basically will be a month from the day for her to do the notifications. That would start.
Any other comments? Sir.
What questions?
My name is Jose Wilfredo Marquina. I live on 221 East Sandy Lake Road, which is part of the group in here. My question is that, or my wondering actually is, after we pay the first payment or initial payment, are we going to be assessed yearly after that for the road too, or not?
It goes on to your taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be like any other.
Any other? Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
So, thank you.
You guys are a lot nicer than I thought it was going to be. No.
We're happy with the road.
Yeah. Did you hear all that? They said we did good.
Commissioners, if I
Step on it.
Thank you. Loretta Swanson, Public Works and Utilities and Waste Management Director. I simply want to note a couple of other items, Commissioners, that the proceedings throughout the formation, the petition to form, all of that business was completed in accordance with RID statutes. And also to note that there is a very strict process in terms of notification and notices to the property owners within the proposed and existing RID, and those were also done according to statute. The hearing today is to take written testimony from anyone who is or takes exception to the assessment, and simply did want to note that there was one written testimony submitted, and so commissioners have that information before you, and the clerk of the board received that testimony within the time that was described for in the notice that was sent to property owners. So I just wanted to make note of that.
It'll be read.
Is this the one to
Thank
read
you.
into the record? Okay, thank you. Yeah, go ahead and read that into the record.
We have to close that part and go into public testimony.
Well,
We're
this
still-
is
We're
part
still in
of-
the questions.
Oh, okay.
I just,
Yeah, all right. No more questions for staff. Any questions on the Zoom room?
there we go.
C1, Al Hess.
You can see that.
Yeah, as long as I'm not
Morning,
seeing.
Commissioners. Elena Hess.
Elena.
May I verify audio?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you very much. I have filed objections to the full Shetland Road assessment amount as shown on the final assessment roll for my property. My objections are based on lack of benefit and lack of assessment proportionality. If I may request the commissioners hear this summary of my objections, I will make it as quick as I can.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. The first objection is lack of benefit. It is my right as a property owner to receive benefit from the constructed improvements on Shetland Road, as state statutes require that my property realize a fair and true increase in value, which must also be equivalent to any assessment. Without benefit from those improvements, my property may not be assessed. A certified appraiser has prepared an analysis for my property and has stated his opinion that my property will not realize a market value gain resulting from the Shetland Road constructed improvements. My property does not front Shetland Road and has not and will not receive frontage improvements. Clearly, the assessment exceeds the benefit received. I have made at least 3 requests, plus a records request to the county for evidence that counters what I've just stated. I've not received a substantive response. And I've seen in all of the ad hoc language added to notices, resolutions, etc. since have not demonstrated benefit in accordance with state statute requirements. Furthermore, I did not sign an agreement of receiving benefit from the RID project. The only petition sent to property owners in the RID district contained the language, "Do not sign this petition unless you are an owner of a real property, benefiting from the property and requesting to be assessed for the cost of improvements." The venue for determining the validity of assessment and yet to be determined benefit to an individual parcel is at the final assessment roll hearing, which is where we are at now, not by way of subjective language in a petition. That petition also failed to disclose the potential implications to the property owner's rights with their signature. Any argument by the county that the property owner's signature on that petition proved benefit should not be recognized or upheld. Another point of evidence of lack of benefit comes from our Assessor's Board of Equalization. In March 2018, my husband and I approached the board with a concern that the comparables used to value our property had paved county roads to their driveway. The board upheld the valuation based on, quote, end quote, the assessor testified that there was no market evidence of a negative value on an unpaved road. This board order agrees with and is brought to current times by the general verbal opinions from several real estate appraisal companies that Mason County does not recognize a real estate property valuation difference between paved and unpaved roads. That completes the first issue. The second issue of objection is lack of assessment proportionality, equitability, and method. State statutes specify that assessments on individual lots within a district must be proportionate with other property in the district. The Red District property owners were led to believe all along, up to and including the August 13th, 2024 feasibility hearing, that 91 parcels would be contributing to the project cost. That's 17 donating right away with no monetary contribution, and the remaining 74 would be expected to pay the cost by assessment. Now, of those 74 remaining lots, 23 that were originally shown as assessed are now exempt from assessment. That leaves only 51 assessed lots. Those 23 that are now exempt belong to DNR, the federal government, and all lots along Shetland Road not donating right away, but are otherwise directly served by the construction improvements on Shetland Road. Pardon me, using the current actual project cost of near $185,000, the 51 lots now left with picking up the bill for the over $57,000 in revenue loss from those additional 23 lots that are not exempt, that are now exempt, meaning they will not be contributing either by donation or by assessment. That translates into my lot and 50 other property lots proportionally assessed over $1,126 more than they should be. And not one of those 51 lots received frontage improvements to their property. It is not proportional or equitable to assess 51 tax parcels in a district of 91 total tax parcels to pay the full final cost of the project. A brief clarification for the commissioners and the property owners that recall the original estimate they were expected to pay was a bit over $6,500. And maybe viewing the new cost of a bit over $4,400 as a bargain. The reason for this reduction in assessment from the original total of approximately $365,000 to near $185,000 is due in least in part to the cost savings resulting from several improvement items in the engineer's original estimate that were not constructed. Now, irrespective of the explanation for cost reduction, the lack of proportionality and equitability of the proposed assessments on the remaining 51 lots does not change. And no matter what the justification is for exempting the various classifications of undeveloped land, this issue should have been dealt with at the formation hearing at the latest and well before preparing a preliminary assessment roll. Lack of sufficient development in the Red District is at the core of the problem of inequitable assessments. There is a total of about 970 acres in the district. Of those 970 acres, about 763 acres of various classifications of undeveloped land. Those 763 acres represent almost 79% of the total acreage in the district. Asserting that the district is, quote, end quote, sufficiently developed is not reasonable or accurate. Furthermore, the current owners of the 51 parcels left with the entire bill have little to no chance of recovering any portion of paid assessments from any undeveloped land in the foreseeable future. Presently, I do not have all of the documents to determine if an assessment reimbursement agreement to recover funds from undeveloped land has or will be prepared, and whether it will favor reimbursement to owners or to the county. All circumstances considered, it is not a clear-cut case at this stage that any of the now exempt parcels should in fact be exempt. I believe the only exception would be the single federal parcel. Now, DNR has stepped forward. The reason they are exempt is they are asserting lack of benefit. And it appears that was accepted at face value and exemption was granted. All 17 of their lots were taken off of the assessment list. If I may, Commissioners, I am presenting the same issue of lack of benefit with the backing of a certified appraiser. I am almost finished, I promise. There is another issue of lack of proportionality and equitability with the proposed method of assessment by tax parcel. There was no consideration given to subdivision potential of lots in the district, which would have again reduced the overall assessment for the majority of the owners. I'm going to limit this for now. It's detailed in the written action that I filed. In closing, Commissioners, I am being asked to pay for improvements to the property of others with no demonstration of benefit to my property and without proportionality of assessment. I ask you to recognize and accept the analysis prepared by the certified appraiser demonstrating no benefit to my property, and recognize my pre-retirement general experience and credentials as a transportation engineer. And please consider all other evidence provided here in both of my written document. I ask that my property be removed or exempted from the Shetland Road final assessment roll and obligation thereof, and that all necessary work be performed to legally transfer to the county my Shetland Road deeded ingress egress easement, including payment of any transfer costs. Commissioners, your constituents look to you for your support to protect their rights. I appreciate sincerely your time, attention, and consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other testimony? Hearing none. Any other testimony from Zoom space? Okay. Since it was pointed out this is supposed to be written testimony.
We don't have to read it now.
All right.
Can I ask a question, Mr. Chair?
Certainly.
Staff, this parcel that she's talking about, is it, I don't have a map to see where it is. Where's it located in comparison onto the road? Our ID that we just did?
Lovejoy Schaefer,
Hi.
right-of-way agent. It is on the top portion, the development, I think it's Sunnywood's development. Her parcel, yes, it is up all the way to the T, and then it goes into gravel over to the west.
Okay, so it is before it gets to her property, it's not. Her
It is-
property is directly impacted by being able to utilize this road.
Yes,
what
it
I'm
is their
asking.
only
It's-
access.
It's off, okay, that's what I needed to know, thank you.
Any other questions?
Nope.
All right. Hearing no more questions or comments, it's time to consider the, well, I can read the whole thing.
I can just do it as a motion for
Yeah,
to help you. Okay. Mr. Chair, with comments afterwards, because I'd like to address the comments from the person in the community. I move for the resolution, for the adoption of the resolution confirming the final assessment roll for the Shetland Road Improvement District, RID number 2024-01, and certifying the assessment roll for Mason County Treasurer for collection and resolution accepting the improved portion of Shetland Road into the Mason County road system, and an ordinance establishing a 25-mile-per-hour MPH speed limit on Shetland Road segment within the RID number 2024-01, and with comment.
Okay. I will second that motion. Now, your comment.
Okay, so for the person out in the audience, I appreciate where you're coming from and how you can feel that way. A couple things I want to clarify. The actual amount that's being charged to each individual is $3,624.72. If you choose to take a loan out on it, then that's going to change how much you pay on it. But the actual amount that you're doing, and that's much lower than was originally discussed when the whole community came in and asked for us to do this. Staff, I think he walked outside, I saw him walking out there. Thank you very much, because you were able to save a bunch of money. You got some great stuff done. As for value and whether or not a property is getting a benefit from it, I've actually had my real estate license for 20 years. And I can assure you, regardless of any argument anybody wants to make on it, you can't prove to me that if you have a dirt driveway that it is not worth less than somebody that has a paved one. I can give you a whole community called up on the top of Razor Road that'll show you differently as they go through front ends on their vehicles and everything else. And I can assure you that the property values, when we're selling properties up there, there's no comparison. It does have an impact. So there is a benefit. If I felt there was no benefit, I would side with the person and ask for us to remove it. But I don't see how I could say it doesn't have a benefit when everything I've known throughout my history shows having a paved driveway or a paved road to get to something does impact its value.
And county maintained.
And county maintained, yeah.
Yeah, living on a private road, not having county maintained is pretty expensive.
Can I make a comment? This is our time, sorry.
Apologize, Atlanta, we are not at a point for more discussion on this, so. It has been moved and seconded to adopt a resolution confirming the final assessment roll for Shetland Road Improvement District, RID number 2024-01, and certifying the assessment roll to the Mason County Treasurer for collection. A resolution accepting the improved portion of Shetland Road into Mason County road system, and an ordinance establishing a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit on Shetland Road segment within RID number 2024-01.
Yeah.
So, it's been moved, seconded, that we're covering that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. That ends this public
Congratulations, guys.
hearing.
Thank you to our staff on that. This is our first RID in 50 years? 50 years or so that I can remember, because I think it was the Harstein Island Bridge was the last one. So,
We will now open a public hearing to consider amendments to Mason County Code Section 14.22.200, Special Flood Risk Zone, floodplain of the Skokomish River. Kel Rowan.
Good morning, Kel Rowan, Mason County Community Development Department. I'm here before you regarding the removal of the county-imposed floodway for the Skokomish River, Vance Creek, and tributaries. In the late 90s, the county ultimately ended up placing a floodway on the Skokomish River in its entirety due to frequently flooded areas under the Growth Management Act. That's on top of the FEMA mapped floodplain and floodway. In 2019, the county adopted new floodway maps and floodplain maps as amended by FEMA, so the federal agency that does our mapping. And at that time, we considered removing the county-imposed floodway, but due to timing, we had very strict timelines by the Federal Emergency Management Agency to adopt our new floodplain ordinance and maps. We didn't have enough time to consider the impact of removing the county-imposed floodway, so we let it be and maintained that county-imposed floodway for the entire valley. Fast forward several years, the issue continued to come up periodically, and so I spent some time in consultation with our Public Works Department, Mason Conservation District, and the FEMA folks at the Department of Ecology, and ultimately came to the conclusion that we could remove the county-imposed floodway and just adopt the FEMA floodway and floodplain as is. In addition to the FEMA map, so there is a floodway, I'm not sure what mile marker it ends at, but it, you know, from the Hood Canal heading east about, I'd say about halfway through the river valley, there is an arbitrary line of where the floodway gets cut off. The remainder is flood A and flood AE zones. So in those zones, you can continue to build or rebuild, but you do have to meet strict building development code by elevating, flood venting, et cetera. But in addition to that, there's what's called a channel migration zone. And this is a layer that the county planning department regulates development. If you're in a channel migration zone, development is also prohibited in that zone unless you can get a qualified person to document that there will be no adverse effects by the development. And it's a little more complicated than that, but essentially with all of those regulations in place, I feel, or the county department feels that removing that additional layer of the county imposed floodway for the entire valley is redundant. And this is one of those rare circumstances in which the county gets to reduce some development regulations as opposed to continuing to pile on development regulations. With that, do you have any questions?
Any questions for staff? Just to dull this point a little bit, she's trying to make it easier for people to do their, live in their homes and rebuild their homes, things like that. So this is an effort by our staff to make life easier for our citizens. So, any questions for staff in the Zoom room? Seeing none. Now's the time for any public testimony. Anybody care to testify on this issue?
Oh,
sure.
Didn't see that coming.
My name is Dave Craigenau. I live along the North Fork of the Skokomish River. We've had considerable difficulties developing a home site there under these somewhat burdensome regulations, and I appreciate the opportunity to cut them back into a more reasonable state for us. This became problematic when we tried to add a backup power generator on our land, and were prevented from doing so without an inordinate amount of administrative hoops to jump through. So I think bringing us back to a state in which you can build with certain appropriate engineering designs seems most reasonable to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. I was thinking that this might be a great segue. I'm with SBA, Small Business Disaster Assistance.
And could you state your name, please?
My name is Tana Moorhead. I apologize. Tana Moorhead, I'm Public Affairs Specialist with Small Business Administration. We work in concert with FEMA on natural disasters. So we're here, our field office team is here in Washington now to assist with those survivors who might have been impacted by the storm that took place in December 2025. So we do assist homeowners in primary counties. In contingent counties, we do assist small businesses that might have been impacted by floods. So in our work, we do help with low-interest loans. And with that said, any persons that might have been impacted, in this case, Mason has been declared as a county that was impacted, and we're helping small businesses. So I just wanted to share that information with the citizens here and you all to see if there is a way that you can get the message out. And, I have my flyers here, and you may contact me directly with that to request assistance.
I think you did just get that information out.
I'm going to share it with you now, if I may. Actually, I have 3 copies and 1 extra room for Sharon, Commissioner Sharon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other testimony? Any testimony from the Zoom space? All right, hearing none. Any comments?
Me.
With that, I will call for the vote to
Motion?
Yeah, we need a motion first.
Mr. Chair,
Thank you.
I move that we approve the amendments to the Mason County Code, Section 14-22-2000, under Special Flood Risk Zone, floodplain of the Skokomish Valley, Skokomish River.
I'll second that. It has been moved and seconded for us to, let's see, remove the, there we go. For the amendments to the Mason County Code Section 14.22.200 Special Flood Risk Zone floodplain of the Skokomish River. All in favor, say aye. Go ahead.
Comment. Staff, thank you for this. What was it, gentlemen? It got a little better some years back. This is a big jump forward. There was a point where it was so much worse and almost impossible to do anything out in that valley. It was so restrictive. This is just another example of moving forward. It's sad that it takes so many years to do it, but there's so many different reasons why it can't move too far in front of itself. But the fact that staff took this on and started to make it, and I believe that we're doing more things like that. I wanted to thank staff for that, because these people deserve the opportunity to live their life again when they were taken to a point to where if they'd have lost everything. Before I was county commissioner, I was called out there during a flood, and they were told as their whole farm was being washed away, because it's all special dirt on the top of farmland, right? It was all being washed away, and at that time, 15 years ago, he was not even allowed to block off the water to keep it from taking off his farm as it ripped the top off. It was so restrictive on what they could do out there because of that. So we've come a long way. So again, thank you to staff for that.
Yeah, I'll reiterate that. I was shocked to find out that if you had your house burnt down, you weren't allowed to rebuild it.
Yep.
It's hard for me to
Crazy, huh?
believe that, but you know, those were the restrictions. So I'm delighted to get rid of those restrictions. So with that, I will call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. We're closing the public hearing. We will open the public hearing to consider amendment to Mason County Code Title 17 related to densities in the Allen and Belfair urban growth area. Again, Calvert.
Good morning. This is my third and final time for you this morning. Kel Rowan, Mason County Community Development Department. This is a development regulation change to Title 17, both for the Allen and Belfair high-density districts. In Allen, it's the Chapter 1711, and in Belfair, it's Chapter 17.22. The high-density multifamily residential district and the multifamily residential district related to densities. So in both districts, the minimum density for these districts is 10 units per acre. Each zoning district also allows single-family detached residential. It is difficult to reach 10 units per acre with a detached residential construction. And there were developers in both Allen and Belfair that approached our planning department about this issue, and therefore I brought it forward as a staff-driven amendment to reduce the minimum to 5 units per acre, but keeping the maximum. In Allen, the maximum actually goes up to 20 units per acre. In Belfair, the maximum is still set at 10. Does allow for multifamily, that's remaining in place as well. So the district will still allow the multifamily, still allow the high density, but it's just reducing the minimum density to allow flexibility. This did go through the Planning Advisory Commission. We did receive some comments, so there are some comments in your packets from the public and the PUD. 3 had some comments in there about the density. The Planning Advisory Commission did recommend approval to the Board of County Commissioners, and staff is also recommending approval of the amendments to the county commissioners.
All right. Any questions for staff on this issue? We have nobody in the audience, so we'll go to the Zoom space. Ken?
Thank you, Commissioner. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Kel, I have a couple questions. I saw that there was only 3 comments, and most of them were from agencies like the PUD and Apex Engineering. Were there any written comments from landowners in either of the UGAs?
No, there were just the 3, and it's PUD, Apex, and I'm not sure, can you remember who the third?
Oh, okay.
There was a third, I can't remember who that was
No,
from.
none from specific landowners regarding public comment. Could you tell me how many parcels and landowners are involved in the Belfair R10 areas?
There are, I cannot tell you, I did not do a parcel by parcel search, but there is a map in the packet that shows the R10 zoning designations within the Belfair area.
Okay, I saw that. I just was curious if you knew how many different ones there were. Thank you.
It was Commerce was the third one, Ken.
Okay.
And for the record, I did contact Ken to try to answer his questions prior to the hearing, but I didn't get a hold of him.
Any other questions from the Zoom room? Now is the time for public testimony. Thank you, Kel.
Hi, public.
Jeff Carey from Island Lake. As you know, I chair on the Planning Advisory Commission. The commission did review this, as Kel mentioned. It went through it. As you know, the chair does not have a vote on the commission, but I was able to successfully lobby to, and I'm glad you got the correction in on the setback for front yard setbacks in the Allen zoning. And I got to thinking, looking at it, you know how it is. You read this a couple of times, you think, how's this going to be applied? And obviously the commission voted to move ahead with it. The one concern that came to mind is that the reason it was originally 10, and I'm speaking from Allen because I have the history. I was there back in the early 2000s when we worked on the zoning. Right? The reason we created that 10-foot setback for that zone is because it was intended possibly to be apartments, and therefore we wanted the developer, there wasn't need for a big yard or any of that kind of thing for apartments. So where I'm going is I think what we have here is fine, but if they decide to build apartments, it should be allowed, they can go back to 10, it's that tighter density. Or I should say not tighter density, but the reduced setback. In other words, here we're increasing it to 15 feet only. And that's what I lobbied for and the commission voted on. And that's fine to that extent, but it should a developer want to build apartment complex and use the full density of 20 dwellings per acre, they should be allowed to go back to the 10.
Smaller.
Yeah. Again, and the reason I lobbied for the 15 issue was it's occurred to me as we've watched development in Lower Allen that people have a tendency to use the garage as storage and the driveway as the parking. And if you have it that tight, you basically got to go out in the street to go around the vehicle that's going across the sidewalk or walkway. And that was the intent we're trying to address. And I think my reading too is maybe that should be considered also in Belfair, the same thing. But it's your choice. We did not vote on that or anything like that, but those were the considerations, those were the thinking, what have you. On different, related subject, related to this, but different angle. Some of the comments letters, like from the PUD3, were about that, they feel that we should stay to the tighter density. I brought up during that planning commission meeting that the developer at Lakeland Village has approached me years ago about wanting to increase, and we didn't vote on it, but something to consider and maybe allocate, to the time to the staff to look into it, is to keeping those numbers in balance with the comprehensive plan, since we're loosening the density on one area, looking at increasing the density on another area. And it works out to almost a balance of the number of structures if that happens. And that way there's no adjustments to any of the comp plan or anything. At least this is with respect to the Allen UGA. So I asked that you look into that. They may not want it, but this was spoken to me maybe 5-6 years ago. So other than that, thank you.
Thank you. Any other testimony? Seeing none in there. Ken, is your hand still raised, or would you like to testify?
Yeah, I would like to speak, if I could.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Yeah, Ken Van Buskirk, Belfair. The two purpose statements for Allen 1711 and Belfair 1722 are quite a bit different. And I want to be clear that I support the reduction in the zoning intensity. And I want to focus my comments on the purpose statement for the Belfair UGA, the 1722-110. A little background. My wife co-chaired the GMAC countywide committee back in the 1990s, and some of those meetings were pretty contentious. I remembered a number of folks wearing black armbands disrupting the meetings. It was a challenging time, but in the end, Belfair and Shelton UGAs were established. In 2004, I served on the Belfair Sub-Area Planning Committee, and that also was a trying time. I remember arriving early to a meeting and finding the chairperson and a county person drawing circles on the Belfair map. One of the circles was an R10 mode, and it included my family's property. The sub-area plan was approved by 2 lame duck commissioners that year, and with the most contentious issue being whether to build the bypass or widen SR3 first. That room down there where you're at was packed. It took my wife and I several years and a different set of commissioners to get our property rezoned from R10 to out of the UGA. Regarding the development nodes referenced in that 1722-110 purpose statement before you today, I took issue with those nodes back in 2004, and here we are 20 plus years later, and I still take issue with those nodes today. I suggest that that purpose statement be rewritten for Belfair, as those nodes no longer apply. For example, the southern node no longer features a colossal salmon center with 500,000 visitors a year that was going to be built on the Theller parking lot. That's not happening. When the original development nodes were designed, the committee did not want to recognize the critical aquifer recharge area, critical areas, or the landslide hazard areas. To this day, there is still a dry cleaner in the critical aquifer recharge area. Late in 2005 and 6, I received landowner permission and walked and mapped the majority of the streams in the urban growth area. Much of that stream mapping is still incorrect in the southern node. In addition, I recall there was an urgent rezone from R5 to R10 about 10 years ago on the Roy Bode Road for potentially 100 apartments. The PAC at the time was unaware there was a 10-year logging moratorium and that part of the property was in the critical aquifer recharge area buffer. They approved it and forwarded it to the Board of County Commissioners. They had only 3 people testify at the Board of County Commissioner meeting, the applicant, a realtor, and myself, and it was zoned R10. Here we are 10 years later, or about 10 years later. Nothing's happened on the property regarding apartments, but the PUD has a substantial easement through the property. The SR3 widening project has not been completed, and the Warstadt fish culvert replacement is scheduled soon in downtown Belfair. In conclusion, I feel that the PUD comments raise some good points and questions in my opinion. The downtown and southern nodes are obsolete. The road infrastructure does not meet current transportation concurrency standards in downtown. The 4-way intersection is a deteriorating mess. Any future development, whether R5 or R10, should be focused and located on the plateau above town. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comment or testimony in the Zoom space? See none.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve Mason County Code Title 17. Actually, before I do that, I got a question, if I may. Jeff's point, I think, is a good point. How would I go about putting that in? Because if we are going to go back to the densities of 10, you're going to need to have those. Please, go ahead.
So, following the comprehensive plan update that you guys adopted in December of '25, Marissa behind me here is working on both the resource ordinance update and the development regulations update. So her and I will be looking at all the residential zonings within Shelton, we're gonna work with the city of Shelton on that, but within Allen and Belfair, and we'll be addressing those issues. And so I would like to, let Jeff know that and be sure as we bring development code forward to the planning commission that we're capturing what he's talking about.
So is your request of me, because I intend to make a motion to include that, is your request of me to continue to move forward with what we have with the idea that you will sit down with Jeff and with the planning commission?
Yes.
To change this in a proper manner to
Correct.
reflect, because I would like it to see it change to that proper manner to see it reflect
I think that would be the easiest way to do it and the way that we get it through the planning commission, those detailed changes rather than trying to make it here.
But I have your commitment, okay.
Yeah.
Then
Yep.
I know my motion now then. Okay. Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the Mason County Code adjustments related to densities in Title 17 in Allen and the Belfair urban growth areas as presented by staff, with the idea they will be addressing the other through the planning commission and changes in regards to allowing for the you don't have to say all that though. Yeah. Just stick with the original motion of Mr. Chair. I move for the approval of the code amendment for Title 17 related to densities in the Allen and the Belfair UGA growth areas as presented.
Second. It has been moved and seconded that we amend Mason County Code Title 17 related to densities in Allen and Belfair urban growth areas. Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Hearing none. That closes our public hearing. We will now move into commissioner calendars. Commissioner Netherland, if you would like to go first.
I'd like to take it a little easier for 1 second, because I need to clarify something that I want to give my opinion that hopefully in the future we'll work together on these things. You're entitled to your opinion 100%. I'm not going to challenge anything you said as being wrong. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm not going to challenge. But I said something that may not have been correct. He asked me if he had said that he didn't agree with those numbers. In reflection, as I'm sitting here, I don't know that he said the words, but I do know that he took exception to it, because that's why we had the discussion. It doesn't mean anything you said was wrong or anything, but you asked me that question, and sitting here, I thought about it to myself, and the whole reason why we have that discussion is because you took exception with it. So I wanted to clarify that for everybody else so that I'm completely accurate with my statement. Okay. Left board, North Mason Chamber of Commerce, Government Affairs Committee, Mason Transit Authority, special meeting, of which we'll both be at that one. North Mason Community Voice has a meeting coming up. Sheriff's Breakfast, Agate Grange meeting, Mason Transit Authority Administrator, and me will be getting together. Peninsula Regional Transportation Organization meeting. Olympic College is doing a pinning ceremony for their nursing, and they're offering some of that stuff here now, so they're doing an associate's and a bachelor's, and we've been invited to it. I don't know if you're gonna attend, but I intend to attend that. We have Reunification Day. This is a big day in our community, and to myself. We have people that go through the courts in order to try and get their children back. They go through all kinds of stuff. Yes, they did wrong, that's why their children were usually taken away. I don't question that, but there's failures all over the world. What these people do is pick themselves up, go through a whole process in order to earn their children back, stay clean, and do all these things. And in my opinion, when they're able to accomplish that, that's a success, and we need to appreciate that. So there's a special day for that where the judges come out, and I will be at that, and there may be others as well, because that's a big thing, these people getting their children back. Retirement, we have two retirements that are happening right here. We're moving over a goodbye party retirement for Susan. And Maria is leaving from the auditor's office. I'm gonna be there to wish them, I don't usually attend those, but I'm gonna try and be there to wish them the best. Mason Transit Authority Board, that we'll both be at that. You may be attending the League of Women Voters meeting. We may both also be at the Fire District 4. Hood Canal Bridge has a group that they go down there. We look at trying to find the best ways to handle the situations that are happening on the Hood Canal Bridge, not just on the traffic side, but also on the Navy side and the environmental side, because it affects the fish. There's so many tags from the salmon and the steelhead that are just right on one side of the bridge, all down below, that it would blow you away, the thousands and thousands of tags from the fish that didn't make it. They just ended right there. So I'll be doing that one. North Mason Chamber of Commerce regular meeting, Orca meeting, and then the Orca also has a meeting I'll be attending with the Finance Committee aspect of them. And I think that brings us back, and we do this all over again.
Thank you. I have MACECOM board later this afternoon. Tomorrow I have Fire District 18. No, I'll be doing the IT steering committee tomorrow. Also have a MTA special meeting that I haven't accepted yet because that interferes with the IT. So I don't know if you're going to be at that special meeting tomorrow or not. I don't think I can be there.
I think that's for the contracts, so hopefully we'll see if we have a quorum.
Yeah, I could probably, if you need to, let me know.
I can't, I'm not the chair.
Then we have a West Mason Fire District meeting Wednesday night, a chamber after hour. We have a board retreat on Thursday for the EDC board. Then I have Mason Clean Water District Advisory Committee meeting immediately following that. And I have a meeting with Joe Avalos of Thurston Mason Behavioral Health on Friday. As you said, we have the Bachelor of Science in Nursing at the Olympic program. I'll see if I can make it out to that one. We have one on Sunday.
Yeah, there's both. They have the bachelor and the associates.
Yeah, one is like for phlebotomy.
Yeah.
Drawing blood, I think.
Yep.
Then we come back in for Monday on commissioner briefing. We have a WASAC virtual assembly. Then operation and maintenance in Johns Prairie Conference Room. So that's MTA. Yes, okay. Tuesday, Fire District 8 meeting. Then we have an MTA board meeting the following Tuesday. Wednesday, Fire District 4. You mentioned remote we might both be there. Then I have PUD fiber ribbon cutting. And then that's at Cloqualum Lake Arrowhead. They've installed all new fiber optic out there, so that's exciting news for those folks. Fire District 8 and Fire District 12 following Wednesday. Then I'll have the full board meeting with the Thurston Mason Behavioral Health ASO organization and Alliance for a Healthy South Sound. So those two are going to probably interfere with each other. I don't think I'll be able to get them all. Will you be attending the PRTPO meeting?
Yes.
Following Friday? Okay.
Yes.
I don't need to be there. All right, then we come around to the following week, so that covers it for me. Anything else?
Mr. Chair, I move we adjourn.
Second, we are adjourned.
Be around afterwards, you could